In the heart of Africa lies a region of volcanoes, lakes, fields, and forests, which support an abundant variety of life. The soil here is rich, and the farmland green and fertile. There are also pockets of protected forests here, providing safe havens for some of the most endangered species on the planet. And from cool volcanic heights in Uganda's far reaches, we now embark on a journey towards Bwindi Impenetrable National Park in order to track one of mankind's closest genetic relatives, mountain gorillas, in this episode of Extreme Treks. Out here, it's nature's game. And the elements are our mirror.
This is unbelievable.
From the heart of deep jungles.
This is a tough mountain, man.
To the thin air above us.
And then you look up and you see this. And it's amazing.
Through sun-baked sands, amongst the history and cultures of these lands.
Oh, really? Yeah.
We walk. Each step revealing a little more of this world around us.
And we can see everything.
I'm Ryan Pyle. Join me for these Extreme Treks.
It's incredible to be here in Kampala, the capital city of Uganda. It's everything that East Africa is. It's lush, it's green, it's beautiful. It's also overcrowded. The traffic is unbelievable, and it's full of all the hustle and bustle that you would expect from a capital city. We came to Uganda for adventure, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing. We're going to be getting on a plane and heading down to the south. We're going to be climbing volcanoes and trekking along the borders of Rwanda and the Congo.
As the capital city, people come here from all around the country for business and to trade, and the central markets are alive with the bustle of commerce and activity.
It's my first time to Uganda. It's exciting and it's vibrant, and it's got so much diversity. You know, down in the city center, it can be so busy, so chaotic with all the traffic, it's just insane. But then it's nice to be able to kind of get away from that, come up here into the hills where they've got beautiful palaces and religious buildings and mosques and churches and all this kind of stuff. And they offer you these beautiful vistas looking out around the whole city.
And amongst the religious buildings and palaces, fascinating architecture can be found. We meet with Timothy Latham, an architect who has also discovered a love for the outdoors.
Trained as an architect, my entire being was designing environments that are controlled and are nice. Architects dream house and fancy windows and full height and these beautiful places to live in. Right. But when you realize that you don't actually need any of that to lead a happy life, which is what camping is, living out of your bag.
Yeah.
When you realize that you can actually exist like that and you're very, very content, very happy, you can abandon a lot.
Timothy's words resonate with me and the satisfaction I've experienced out in nature.
If the purpose of living is to enjoy life, then shouldn't that be the core of your planning? I work to go out, not go out and then I come back.
Sure.
So my entire life is working, and it's just centered on how am I going to relax.
Right. So, we're here in Kampala, but then eventually we're going to be heading down towards the border with Rwanda, towards the border with Congo. Have you been down to these kinds of places?
Yes, fortunately. I have been to Congo, I've been to Rwanda, I've been to the Bwindi Impenetrable forest.
Right.
And I can say it's going to be amazing. It's completely different. You're going to love it.
Before leaving Kampala, we first want to get more of a feel for the city itself, so we head downtown.
The only downside with going out on a hike or going out on a trek is the day you come back, you realize that you are back into the city when you hit this traffic jam.
And Kampala is a busy city.
Very busy. There's noxious fumes, hooting, people shouting, boda bodas riding everywhere.
It's an exciting place to just walk around and feel the energy in the streets. And you know, today I was walking around and it was just a super crowded, congested street. And I happened to see this guy wearing one-piece pajamas, just standing in the center of traffic on this little island that maybe was only like a foot wide. And he was flying a kite. Just flying a kite in traffic, wearing a one-piece pajama outfit, cool sunglasses, and he had one of those umbrella hats on. And he was saying that he makes these kites himself. And I was just thinking, man, this is like the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And the fact that he's just hanging out in the middle of like traffic on the busiest street in Kampala is just awesome. I love this energy that people seem to have here. I love the quirky behaviors and the quirky personalities that you get to meet.
And there's plenty of personality to be found here.
It doesn't matter whether you're riding on the back of a motorcycle taxi, zipping through traffic, or whether you're, you know, trying to negotiate to buy some fruit at a market.
Very good, nice tomato, you know? We dig not just things, eh?
Or whether you're just, you know, watching a guy in his one-piece fly a kite. You know, Kampala just has its own personality and its own attitude.
It's a very active city, never sleeps.
One person we've met with an effusive love for his country is Amos Wakesa.
I am so Ugandan on Durban. I'm so Ugandan, of course, I'm obviously Ugandan. I'm very proud to be Ugandan. I could never live anywhere in the world other than Uganda. My country, Uganda, has had very good times. You know, we're the top tourism destination in East and Central Africa until 1971. Idi Amin took over power. For over 20 years, we had wars across the country, so the country lost its tourism. So for me as a Ugandan and a person that is so passionate about my country, I feel there's no better way for people to learn about my country than through tourism. In fact, Uganda is a country everybody must come to before they die. That's in my own opinion. If you don't come to this country, you have not visited the world.
With such a bold endorsement ringing in our ears, it's time to go and experience it for ourselves.
This is always the best part of any adventure, is getting out of the city. Everyone's been telling us southern Uganda is a gem, and I can't wait to see it for myself. Time to fly.
From Kampala, we now fly 450 kilometers to the town of Kisoro in the southwestern corner of Uganda. From there, we drive to the Gahinga Gorilla National Park and begin our trek at Mount Sabino. Heading straight north, we walk through the fertile plains towards Lake Mutanda, and then onwards towards the mountainous and biodiverse reserve of the Bwindi Impenetrable National Park. Finally, entering the park in the hopes of sighting one of its most treasured inhabitants, mountain gorilla.
Uganda is very diverse in that it's a place where you go and find three people sitting together, and chances of them belonging to three different ethnic or origins are the highest in the world.
We soon see the truth of Amos's words, and the southern part of Uganda has many different ethnic groups. The Batwa people lived in the forests of what is now the Gahinga Gorilla National Park until 1991, when government policy relocated them. Arriving at Tabiko village, we also meet Richard, who will be our guide in this upcoming adventure.
Nice to meet you, Ryan.
Great to finally meet you. Your country is amazing.
You enjoyed?
Amazing.
You're welcome.
So what's going to happen on this trip? Where are we going to go? What are we going to do each day?
We are starting with what we call a volcano climbing.
And it's actually quite chilly.
Yeah.
But you just have a T-shirt on. I've got like a jacket.
But I'm used to this environment.
Yeah, you're just by being here for the first few hours in southern Uganda, I'm totally blown away. I can't wait to get started. I can't wait to start trekking with Richard. He loves trekking, he loves climbing, he's passionate about nature. I'm just so lucky to have the chance to explore his country with him.
This Batwa welcome song and dance is like a celebration, and we feel we've arrived in a lively land of unexpected color and dramatic landscapes. Dawn on day one, and the light slowly greets the tranquil spread of countryside lying underneath the shadow of the towering volcanoes, which stand in Gahinga Gorilla National Park.
Gahinga itself is a small park. The Gahinga National Park has got 3 mountains. Sabino, in the local language, means an old man tooth.
It's early in the morning, and we've just arrived here at Gahinga National Park, and we're down in the forest at the moment, but in a couple hours we're going to be making our way up, hopefully to the top of the volcano, where we'll be able to actually look into Rwanda and look into the Congo.
Our walk begins through a mountain bamboo forest. The bamboo towers high above the trail, its tall shapes combing the light down to the forest floor. But soon, the bamboo canopy opens and we can see the foot of Mount Sabino. However, as we close in on the mountain, so do the clouds. And beginning to climb, Timothy's words come to mind.
The first 10 minutes are interesting because you feel your muscles creaking, and half the time you're wondering whether you made the right decision to actually go out. And then you start to get into the rhythm, the sounds start to get in, the smells start to get in, the sights, the scenes begin to open up. You begin to generally get back into yourself and enjoy the hike.
We're about a third of our way up the Sabino volcano, and every now and then you get these little clearings where you can look out and see all the villages and the farmland below. And actually, this direction we're looking out at right now is towards the Congo. So the Congo border is just maybe 1 or 2 kilometers out that way. But we still have a long day ahead of us. We've got a lot of climbing to do.
Very soon, the trail becomes too steep for normal walking, and wooden ladders replace the trail for much of the way. The thin struts are made from branches, slick underfoot and creaking with each shift of weight and pressure, meaning that footing and balance needs constant attention.
We basically climbed straight up the volcano, and it was just ruthless. And in some sections, it was so tricky and so difficult. We were climbing vertically on a wood ladder.
And with the encroaching clouds, the route ahead is formed by endless ladders, disappearing up into the fog. Nearing the ridgeline, the cliff sides around us become more precipitous as we draw close to Uganda's national borders.
On the first peak, Uganda and Rwanda do share the border. On the second peak, Rwanda and Congo share the border. Then on the third peak, all the 3 countries meet together. They share the border.
And after 6 hours of vertical ascent, we reach the peak, the junction of 3 borders, and we are totally surrounded by clouds.
We finally made it to the top, but actually we're completely enclosed in cloud cover. I should be able to look over there and see the Congo. I should be able to look over there and see Rwanda. I should be able to look over there and see back into Uganda from where we came. But actually, I can't see anything, and we're just covered in total cloud. But the flora and fauna up here, the things that we've seen, the fight to make this climb was absolutely beautiful.
We rest for a few moments before the chill of the altitude and fog prompts us to keep moving. And the descent down the ladder is no ordinary walk in the park. It's a long way down. But eventually we make it back to the flatlands and our resting place for the night.
Wow, crazier than I ever could have expected. I'm just physically and mentally shattered, and I'm hurting. And you know, that volcano climb was really tough. I gotta re-heal, get a good night's sleep, and we'll be back on the trail tomorrow. But so far, southern Uganda is living up to way beyond its expectations. Is it tough? Yes. Is it beautiful? Absolutely, and the people are magic. So I'm really looking forward to our village-to-village trek tomorrow. We're not going to be at a high altitude. We shouldn't have to climb vertically too much. And it's going to be great to see how people live in this part of the world.
Morning, and a golden dawn glow welcomes us. Today we are to make our way from the volcanoes of the Virunga Range through farmlands and villages on our way to Lake Mutanda. And we begin walking through the green glow of fertile fields drenched in morning sunlight.
We're just leaving Gahinga National Park, making our way down to Lake Mutanda. And what can you say? The scenery here is spectacular. We're walking through little villages and farms. There's kids out, there's animals out. The volcanoes are in the background on the border with Rwanda. It's heaven. It's not too hot, it's not too cold. The sun is perfect. It's gorgeous. And everyone here is just all smiles, even the cows. Today was a Sunday, and it's a majority Christian area. And of course, Sunday is kind of a rest day. And there were some people working in the fields and stuff like that, but the kids were everywhere because they didn't have to go to school. And the kids were just kind of following us, and we had our own entourage everywhere we went, asking us questions, wanting to know where we were from, wanting to know what we were doing. And it was beautiful.
Uganda has one of the youngest populations in the world. Almost half of the country is under the age of 14, and the total population growth rate is around 3% per annum, faster than most countries. Walking through the villages and the farmland in the early morning was beautiful, and it brought us into contact with local people.
We started a very beautiful walk through agricultural fields. We met lots and lots of people. It was Sunday morning. People were dressed up, going to church. Some were doing their normal work because some, they don't follow their religion. We walk through villages, through volcanic crater mountains.
So we're just here walking through this beautiful farmland. We're just south of Kasoro and just north of the Gahinga National Park. So we're just in this very fertile land area from the volcanoes, and everything around here is volcanic rock, volcanic ash, really rich soil. Apparently it's a very nice farming area, and it's just full of people, and it's just beautiful to walk through. So this is our day today. No hiking big volcanoes. We're just walking through villages and enjoying the day.
We walk through the midday and early afternoon, through more villages and fields, heading towards Lake Mutanda. The landscape around us undergoes some changes, and in the late afternoon, Richard leads me up the slopes of one of the hills overlooking the lake. And reaching the top of the hill, the glassy reflection of Lake Mutanda comes into view, and it's spectacular.
Richard?
Yes, Ryan.
We've had a great day.
Yeah, and right now we've got to a lake nearby called Lake Mutanda, and this is where we shall have our night today.
Okay.
And tomorrow we shall proceed to another point.
Walking here is a dream come true. This part of Uganda is a breadbasket, It's all volcanic land. The volcanic ash has made for very, very high quality farmland. The people who live in this area make a decent living farming. They're growing, Irish potatoes, they're growing beans, they're growing bananas. Every day we've been on the move in Uganda. We've seen something new, we're learning something new. We had a great day on the trail, and I'm just looking forward to the next day. And it's time to get a good night rest and see what Uganda has in store for us tomorrow.
The lake is the source of much life in the area. Bird song saturates the morning air around its shores.
As you can see from where I'm standing, the water level here in the lake is quite high, higher than normal. And that's because this rainy season, this region of southern Uganda has actually got a lot more rainwater than it's used to. So much so that the dock is almost being swallowed up by the lake. Today we were going to be walking along the edges of the lake, and now because of this increased water level, it's all kind of swampy and the trail's been kind of washed away. So instead of walking, we're going to take a boat ride up the lake and pick up the trail a little further along. So we're now on the boat on Lake Mutanda, making our way north towards Bwindi National Park. And it's absolutely beautiful and serene. Early morning here on the lake. Can't help but enjoy the view. Lake Mutanda is beautiful. It's this huge volcanic lake, and in the middle of the lake are all these little islands, and people live on the islands, and they grow bananas, and they grow all kinds of crops. Wow, look how many people come to the market. Wow.
Yeah.
Today was a market day, and they were traveling from their island by canoe to the mainland, and then from there they were going to go to Kisoro and go to the main market.
And as we draw close to the lakeside, the bird calls welcome us back once more.
Well, that marks the end of our boat ride, and it was beautiful. What a nice way to start the morning. And this lake, this volcanic lake, is just surrounded by agriculture and mountains in every direction. But now we're back on shore, and we're ready to hit the trail. So let's do it.
We bid farewell to our boatmen and then set out over the flat farmlands, still framed by the backdrop of the Virunga volcanoes, Mahabura standing tallest amongst them.
Mahabura was from a local name saying for the lost one. So the locals used to travel long distances, and the only way they could tell their mapping was through looking at the mountains. For the person who gets lost, that's the only way they would find their way back.
And indeed, their shapes dominate the horizon, the distance now giving new perspective on their immensity. But walking north, we enter into the hilly regions, and although still farmed intensively, the terrain is much more difficult to work.
Today, the landscape's really starting to change. You know, we've come up from the Mutanda Lake, and we finally got into the foothills here of Bwindi National Park, and we just came across a group of villagers. They're harvesting Irish potatoes. It looks like back-breaking work. Do the ladies working, do they own the field?
No, they don't own the field. They're just working for money.
For money, so they're laborers.
Yeah, they're laborers, and they're paid 5,000 Uganda shillings per day for each person.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they all live in this surrounding area?
Yeah, they all live around this area.
The farming here is much more difficult, right?
It is much difficult because you see how the topography is. It's going down and up.
Right.
Upwards, so it's very hard for it.
So potatoes are good for that, right? They'll grow anywhere.
Yeah, they can grow anywhere because the soil is so fertile.
This work is done as a community. The women toil and harvest the potatoes, but kids clean and bag them, and the men move the big bags. We bid them farewell and continue on our way through this increasingly mountainous countryside. We pass through small villages along the trail. Richard mentions that we can lunch at the home of a friend of his, Charles, and it's a good chance to try some authentic local cuisine.
We are in a village called Kabaya Village. We just here to have a local lunch.
So that's great.
Yeah.
I'm starving.
Yeah.
It's almost lunchtime.
Yeah, let's wait and see.
Charles emerges from his house bearing a tray laden with food.
Oh. New tree.
It's big.
It is
You
huge.
imagine, it's huge. This is how people here in the village eat. They eat communally. Yeah, this tray is locally handmade.
Right.
Richard explains how the ingredients are all sourced locally, even the tray and the dishes they are presented on.
So what's this? What are we looking at here?
It's called amaranthus. It's mixed with a black nightshade.
It looks like spinach.
Yeah, it looks like spinach. We can see beans.
Oh, they're good.
They're good, yeah.
Yeah.
In a mixture of beans, Irish potato, they boil for about 45 to an hour.
Okay.
Then the potatoes soft.
That's great.
You've seen.
Oh, you can just open them like that?
Yeah.
So you just eat them like that?
Yeah, you just eat like this.
So now we got some greens, we got some beans, and we got some potatoes.
Yeah.
But there's no meat. Do people around here eat a lot of meat, or is it pretty rare?
Instead of meat, they just eat this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And is it okay just to eat with your hands?
Yeah,
No problem?
no problem.
That's great. And it's really good and really fresh.
Yeah.
So we've got a feast.
Yeah, this is the normal lunch
And all of this comes from his garden.
around his garden.
Yeah. This is incredible.
You see lots of people are energetic. This is what they eat.
After being on the trail, is exactly what you need.
Yeah.
An interesting-looking gourd was brought out with the food.
It's what we call a calabash. There is a local handmade drink.
Oh, it's really thick.
That's a millet porridge.
Millet porridge? So it's just soup.
Yeah.
So you've got some good connections.
Yeah, I've got, I can't die on the highway.
On the trail, you're not
Yeah.
going to starve to death? Cheers, boss. This is amazing. Did he cook it by himself or his wife? Your wife? Your wife's a good cook.
Okay,
Thank you.
This hearty, healthy meal is just the right food for the climate and exercise. We thank Charles, and we are soon walking again, closing in on the borders of the Bwindi Impenetrable National Park. Our walking rhythm carries us, and my mind is left free for contemplation. Timothy's descriptions come back to me.
You begin to generally get back into yourselves. You begin to rediscover the things that you thought you had lost. You begin to think critically about what's important and what's really, really meaningful to you. And you're relaxed. That is like the sweet spot.
Finally, we arrive along the park borders.
Right now, we are into the boundary of Bwindi Impenetrable National Park. This section where we are standing is called a buffer zone. Buffer zone is a land that is in between a protected land and a community land. We can see tea plantation. The tea plantation can make a hedge to stop or to keep gorillas and other wild animals into the park.
National parks are areas protected from the encroachments of farming and other human activity.
Uganda is almost in the heart of Africa. We've got 10 national parks, and many of these national parks are different from the national parks across Africa. It's probably one of the top 10 countries in the world in terms of biodiversity. Here you're talking about relative abundance of flora, fauna, and the general ecosystem. Bwindi has about 50% of the world population of mountain gorillas.
What makes it very, very much special from other parts of the country are the mountain gorillas. Mountain gorillas are endangered species that lives in Bwindi National Park. Tomorrow, we shall do what we call gorilla tracking.
As the sun goes down, we look out over the shrouded forests of Bwindi Impenetrable National Park, our destination for tomorrow.
It's amazing. I think it was Winston Churchill that called Uganda the Pearl of Africa. And it's just been overwhelming how beautiful this country is. Every day has been completely different, and every day just keeps getting more beautiful and more stunning. It's a privilege to be walking through, a place that's this alive. It's early in the morning, it's like 7 a.m. Our whole trip in Uganda has come down to this. We're gonna be tracking mountain gorillas. They're obviously incredibly endangered species. We've got an incredible team. I can't wait.
Today, we'll be following the lead of several experienced gorilla trackers.
So today I'm very happy you've come to look at the best giants, the most endangered gorilla species, the mountain gorillas. We will keep in a tight group. I will be with you all the time, and I will be ready for any question.
And with that, we move out into the thick cover of the jungle.
First of all, Bwindi means a place that is full of darkness, boggy. So when you are inside Bwindi, you can never know either it's 1 p.m. or it's 7 p.m. So it's dark.
So this is it. We're on our way now. We're searching. We're on the trail. Anything can happen at any moment, and it's going to be pretty incredible.
You move with the trackers. It's right from the starting point to where you'll find the gorillas.
I expect quite a long walk today, but then it depends on how strong we will be. Of course, here it's mountains. Ups and downs, ups and downs.
And soon we are cutting off established paths and forging our own way through the forest.
The terrain, it's called an impenetrable forest. So it's not gonna be an easy experience.
Those words ring so true as we wrestle our path up and down these thicket-covered hills. The Bwindi Impenetrable National Park is 331 square kilometers. This sanctuary is the home terrain of 404 individual mountain gorillas. After some time, we begin to come across droppings and footprints, signs that we're on the right path. After several hours of walking, our trackers stop, sensing a gorilla family is close by, and I have the feeling of being watched. Our tracker points into the thicket ahead, and I see the dark shape of a silverback disappearing into the tangle of undergrowth.
We found them. Yeah. This is incredible. They're just over this little ridge. We're working our way really slowly. Let's keep trying to track them.
The silverback is the leader of a family of gorillas. There can be more than 2 silverbacks in one family, but always one is the leader, who is the dominant.
Every now and again, we can see dark shapes moving away through the forest foliage ahead of us. The silverback waits behind, checking on us, as if to make sure his family is safe.
Now, something unique about the mountain gorillas is habituating them takes about 2 years. Habituation is a process in which you make the primates get used to human beings.
As we approach the gorillas, our trackers make a low rumbling call, signify that we are not a threat.
We do all sorts of things that the gorillas do as well. Mimicry, like the calling. It's a kind of call, a friendly call we use so we can get these guys friendly to us. So we copy from them. And then later, when they feel like we have no harm to them, they give us more time and check on us all the time. So it's called gorilla habituation. And always, when it gets to 1.5 years, is when we feel like we should bring you guys different color. So the gorillas get used to a mzungu as well. Mzungu is a white person.
The gorillas aren't following any particular path. They're foraging for food and will go wherever they can find it.
He's looking right at us. But it's like we're following them and they see us and they don't mind. It's pretty amazing. Yeah. They're just up ahead. They just keep moving. They're just looking for a good place to feed.
Our tracker had given us a few clear words on how to behave as we approach the gorilla family.
Don't touch the gorillas. Don't share anything with the gorillas, like food, like water, and make sure everything you use, especially the cigarette packs, the peelings, the biscuit packets, everything should be packed back into your backpack.
As gorillas share a similar genetic makeup to humans, they are susceptible to many human diseases. For this reason also, keeping our distance and not leaving anything behind is crucial to protecting the gorillas.
We're now just tracking like a whole family of gorillas. There might be like 10 or more. And as they're moving up this ridge, some of them are climbing the trees, and some of them are really high up in the tree. They're just looking for food anywhere they can find it.
We're tracking.
We're tracking.
Yeah, we're tracking.
It's happening.
Yeah.
We're like 10 meters away from gorillas.
Yeah.
And what are they doing? Just looking for food?
Yeah, trying to find some food.
Okay.
At times, these guys are overexcited. They come and check on you. And if at all it happens that he's coming to make you a friend, have a few steps back. At least keep in about 7 meters distance.
This is amazing. We're so close to this silverback, and he's just sitting there eating.
He's the leader of the group.
He's the leader of the group. Silverback.
Silverback.
Holy cow, he's huge. I can hear him chewing. That's how close I am. It feels incredible. There's no fence, there's no boundaries, there's no barriers between us and these mountain gorillas.
At times, something would catch his attention and he would stop still, listen, and watch. The sheer physical prowess of these enormous creatures could be felt through a moment of eye contact.
There's a whole family around us. They're all around us in the trees. There's some little ones, there's some babies. They're all up ahead. The silverback seems to be staying at the back. Oh, now he's on the move. You see them? Oh, they're all on the tree. Okay.
In this forest, the gorilla families find plenty of food. Their diet is almost exclusively vegetarian, eating fruit, leaves, bark, roots, and shoots.
This is incredible.
Amazing. There's a lot of the tree.
An adult mountain gorilla can weigh up to 195 kilograms. That's over 400 pounds. This silverback moves amongst the treetop branches with supreme balance. So heavy and yet so graceful. Being the biggest of all the apes, a silverback gorilla will need to spend around 14 hours a day eating.
It's just two factors that drive these guys. One is food. If there is enough food in the location, they less move. And the other factor is location of other groups. The males don't like staying close to each other, of course. And these groups have no territories. Not like in big cats, like in lions and leopards. No. This time around, they can interact, meet, and of course the big ones fight. So in order to avoid such circumstances, the big ones tend to run away from the intruders. So if he feels there is a big male close by, he alerts the members and drives the family away. Especially he chest beats. And this chest beat can be heard in about 1 kilometer. So that's two major factors that lead to their movement.
Okay, we're working our way over towards that tree.
Mountain gorillas have few natural predators, but human activity, forest destruction, poaching, war, and disease has pushed their population to be listed as critically endangered. Yet in Bwindi, the protection of these animals and their habitat has begun to be realized through conservation efforts and the value of responsible tourism. Nearby, a mother looks after her young one. Female gorillas have been known to fight to the death to protect their young. And the young ones travel with their mothers until about 7 years of age. Yet for this youngster, there's still much to be learned, and the endearing sight of this one playing in a tree captivates us all.
The mountain gorilla experience is an emotional experience. They're called the gentle giants. These animals so close to us. We see ourselves as human beings by just watching these mountain gorillas.
It's beautiful.
As Amos said, watching these animals stirs something inside. Seeing them in their natural environment, a beautiful, wordless simplicity of being can be felt, and in moments, shared.
We've been in the Bwindi National Park all morning, and it's been one of the most amazing experiences of my life. We've been tracking them for hours now. We've had a lot of interaction with the big silverback. He keeps looking back at us. Of course, he knows we're here, but he seems pretty comfortable with us. And then there's a lot of little babies that are climbing, jumping up and breaking branches and eating. And to have trekked, for an entire week so that we could get here and have a chance to observe them in their natural habitat.
It's amazing, but it has been very hard.
It's been very hard.
Yeah.
A lot of up, a lot of down.
Yeah.
Difficult trail. Thank you very much for taking me out.
You're welcome.
This has been amazing.
Yeah.
Having traveled on foot over southern Uganda to arrive here, I have walked into a world I never knew existed, and experiencing it, the world around seems so much richer for it. This is an experience that will stay with me.